What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today is my first double upload, I'm pretty sure, on this channel, so it's good news. The bad news is it's in the result of a Leafs loss today against the Detroit Red Wings. We lose 3-2 to a buzzer beater from Mason Appleton. And a very unfortunate result considering that we played very well today and we came back from 2-0 down. Things looked pretty good for the Leafs, and I thought we were gonna win and come back, at least get a point in the overtime. We end up losing in regulation. It's a very grim result, and I'm seeing a lot of negativity from this page, but on the Reddits, on the comment section, the things like that. I think we have to address what's going on with the Leafs, and we have to do it quickly before people's expectations get blown out of water. There are people upset with the offense. That's understandable, I guess, to an extent. We're not seeing the most out of William Nylander, a guy who's scoring 40-plus goals in most seasons as of late. Only has 3 shots in 3 games. Berube actually said himself that he's not really too pleased with his performance. He has to be talking with him in a one-on-one meeting. That's sign for concern a little bit. I understand. We're not seeing too much from Auston Matthews. In 3 games, he has 1 goal, which is an empty netter, and no assists. I think that there's a lot to be talked about with that, and I'm actually going to get into that next. The D-core is continuing to not score at an excellent rate, besides from Morgan Riley, who I'm also going to talk about next. We have guys coming in like Dakota Joshua who haven't looked too effective. Same with Easton Cowan, Machelli. McCowan I thought had an okay game today, but the point is these guys are, going to be relied upon heavily in this season. And so far in the first 3 games, they have not done too amazingly. But that's the entire point. It's been 3 games. I think for me, there's been some positives to take out of these 3 games too. For one, I think the goaltending. I thought today's Stolarz wasn't on his best performance. He only had less than 20 shots, letting 3 goals. Obviously, his save percentage is looking too good today. I thought the last game and the game before that, he made some excellent saves and really kept us in the games, especially when we were playing a bit lackluster. Regarding our defensive scoring, we have Morgan Riley actually leading the team in points this season. As I said, he pretty much needed to be a big point producer for this team. Put up 4 points in 3 games so far. Actually, still a minus rating, which is very concerning. But the fact is, he is getting up there. He's scoring. He's making plays for his teammates, and I think that he's been a very much important piece to our team so far in these first 3 games. Perhaps most important of all, before everyone goes and criticizes this guy right here, Auston Matthews, I think they have to realize that today's game, he made big plays on both of the goals and didn't get any points, which is pretty strange. But the point is, he made 2 huge plays on both the goals. I wish I could show you, but obviously copyright exists. The point is, he had a good game today. He had a ton of shots, and he had upwards of 8 or 9 shots on goal. They're going to start going in the net pretty soon. He had some good chances today. He had some pretty good shots. It was a very good goaltending game from Cam Talbot, and I think something we can't just underestimate. If I was going to be concerned about anything as a Leafs fan right now, which I won't lie, I have a little bit of concern when it comes to our play, but obviously it's the 3rd game of the season. I'm not going to take too much from these first 3 games. What I will say is that the Atlantic Division is looking more difficult than ever. Even the Boston Bruins, who last year were nowhere near the playoff picture, they're 3-1 right now. The Florida Panthers are 3-0. Tampa Bay, had a tough start to the season. They're coming back. They won their last game. There's teams like Ottawa, who obviously are going to be in the mix. Detroit's going to be in the mix. Really everyone, and unfortunately, but the Buffalo Sabres, I think, are going to be in the mix for the playoffs this year. And so it's going to be a really, really tough road to make the playoffs. Perhaps the hardest ever been in the Atlantic Division. And so there's not too much room for error. The point is, though, if there's ever going to be a time to make an error and, figure out how you're going to play your best, it's the first few games of the season. The Leafs fans are overreacting heavily, in my opinion, because I feel like there's no way we can judge our team off of 3 games. We've had good moments. We've had players shine when we asked them to. Look at Calle Jarnkrok. This is a guy that everyone was calling out to trade the entire summer to clear up cap space. Well, he's got 3 goals in 3 games. Look at Morgan Riley, a player everyone was calling out to trade. He's got 4 points in 3 games. Maybe not playing his best defensive work, but we've been asking for offense from him the whole time, right? And he's making it happen. For me, look at Nicholas Waugh. I think he's been really, really good. Been an impressive player for us. I think he's been everything I could have asked for when it comes to a 3rd-line center. We've had some injuries, too. Don't forget that Scott Laughton is out. Steven Lorentz is now out. There's guys that are going to be in and out of the lineup, and it's going to be very important to support these guys regardless. We can't forget the Leafs are trying to adjust to life without an 100-point scorer on their first-line right wing. I don't even want to say his name. But the point is, they need to figure out how to get the offense going without him. Get Auston Matthews and Matthew Knies together on a good line with some good chemistry. I thought they were actually better today with Easton Cowan rather than they've been in the past few games with Matias Machelli. To me, it seems like a good fit. Cowan in the first line. I'm not sure if it's going to stick once guys like Laughton and Lorentz are back, but what I will say is that he's playing very well in that line. I thought he was a good add to the kind of gritty, in-your-face kind of attitude that Matthew Knies and Auston Matthews tend to have sometimes, and I think that If they can make the dirty plays for Austin Matthews to get an open shot or Matthew Nyes to get an open shot, that's really good. And 3 physical guys in the lineup on that first line. They're all, uberly skilled as well. You can't complain about that. I think if today we managed to beat the Detroit Red Wings at home and go 2-1 in the season, I think it would have been a completely different tone from Leafs fans. I think we don't even think about how close we were to win that game or how well we played. We had 40 shots on net. They had less than 20. It's not even comparable. This game was definitely a Leafs game to win. And yes, we didn't find a way in the end, and we should have scored more goals. And obviously our shooting percentage is very low. It was a great game for Cam Talbot. My point is, people are so reactionary, and the fact that the Leafs lose this game, it goes to show how significant it is that the fans are already upset with the team. I'm seeing fans asking people to trade people already. I'm seeing fans saying it's the same old, same old. It's the 3rd game of the season. We have guys like Dakota Joshua. We have guys like Nicholas Waugh. We have guys like Matthias Michelli, Easton Cowan playing his first game. We have guys who are just coming in, trying to make a difference and, learn how to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. And these guys are not going to figure it out within 1, 2, or 3 games. It's going to take 10, 15 games, and we can't be reactionary over this. Now, if we go and we lose 5 more games in a row, be reactionary. Be upset with the team. The point is, it's been 3 games, we're 1-2. It's not like we're 0-3. It's not like we've been dramatically outplayed in every single game. So there's no reason to believe that we can't go and be a playoff team right now when it comes to our start of being 1-2. Like, there's no reason to believe that. I think there's no justification for people calling out the team and, already writing off the team, and people say they won't make the playoffs. Like, this is a playoff team. Whether they're going to make it or not, it's completely up to them. But on paper, this is a playoff team, and they have the utilities to do it, and they have the players, the coaching to do it. I don't know. I think I've been watching the games a little too closely, and I've noticed a few things that are good and bad about this. But my point is, people seem to be kind of batting a blind eye to the fact the Leafs are playing some decent performances. Especially today, I think there was their best game this season. Even the opener against Montreal, I thought they were actually better today than they were against Montreal. But obviously in the Montreal game, they got the win. Today, they didn't get the win. So it goes to show the NHL is probably the hardest sport to predict. Let's be honest. There's so many games that are, San Jose beats a Florida or beats a Toronto. It's very hard to predict, right? And so when it goes down to it, losing a game once in a while, losing 2 games in a row, it sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it's doable, and you can still make the playoffs by having 30 losses in the season. So go and win 45 games and make it easy for yourself. I just want fans to not be too reactionary about these opening games in the season. I think we have to realize that this is a team of making adjustments to losing a huge player. I'm going to say it, Mitch Marner. They lost a huge asset to their team. They lost a very important player in a very, potent form of offense. Now they have to, fill that in with other players who are just adjusting to their new roles in this team. So give it some time. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Let me know if you think they're going to be fine or is it reason to panic in this early start of the season. Please drop a like on the video. Drop a subscription if you want to see more videos just like this. And I really appreciate everyone tuning in today. I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving, and hopefully the Leafs can go on and win a couple more games in the next few ones. I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Have a good one. Have a good Thanksgiving. And yeah, take care.